Welcome. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new episode of After the Whistle. We're like 20 episodes in. Brian's not here today, but I did call backup. I called one of my best friends since like 1995 or something. There you have it. Todd Burton's here, ladies and gentlemen.
I appreciate you having me here today.
Welcome to the show.
Man, thank you for having me.
We talk a lot of trash here. We do a lot of crazy stuff. So, this is your first. Well, this is his second time here. This is the first as a co-host. First time he was a guest. So he's getting both the best of both worlds. I can't even talk.
That's all right.
All right, so let's get this show started. First, we're going to start off with the NBA first round. We're going to do a quick first round recap, just some of the games I wanted to highlight, and then we'll get into the second round and some other stuff. But first, the Celtics and Bucks. Went 7 games. The Celtics won. Home teams won all the games, which is kind of sad. They can't win a road game in the damn playoffs. But Celtics handled business and won both games. What are some of your takeaways from that series?
They were the overall better team. I see the Milwaukee Bucks still have some things they got to work on. Your leadership from your point guard definitely has to be better because you can't have a guy coming off the bench just killing you and you're a starter.
Yeah.
That just can't happen. Sorry.
Yeah, that was pretty sad. And that team, they're like, it's Giannis or bust. If Giannis doesn't have a good game, then that whole team just, wilts under pressure and just doesn't do nothing. And they never showed up on the road. Like, they play well at home, but on the road, it was just like both teams, actually. But some Celtics had spurts on the road where you thought they would have snuck a game in, but it was just like, get a road win.
Yeah, they were just, I want to say, just better coached. Way better coached. Just because, like, you can just tell, like, they understand their roles, and they have no problem with dealing with their roles and accepting it compared to other teams in the NBA.
Yeah, and you said it best. A point guard, Eric Bledsoe, they traded a first-round pick and another draft pick for you, and you were just sorry for the majority of the series. You played probably one good game.
Yeah.
And this is who they gave up. They gave up a lot for you, and you can't even do anything.
Definitely. And there's a difference between, like, just playing awful and just not showing up. He just didn't show up the first 2 games.
The game 3, I think that was his best game, and then after that, he just went back to being not showing up and being awful. So you got 2 combinations of just awful, and he expects to get a big contract.
I'll be honest, some players in this playoff seem like they're already ready for vacations.
Yeah. I think they clocked out a while ago. So
I can see that.
It was it's terrible, but I mean, I never expected much from Milwaukee. I thought maybe they'd give the Celtics a run for their money, but I just knew, like, this team is just, you look at them, you're like, this isn't a championship team.
They don't have enough.
And then their coach is just, some of the best players, he's not really giving them enough minutes, and he's just, so bye-bye Milwaukee. Another series, this might have been 2 of these series, might have been the most exciting series in the first round. First, the Pacers and the Cavs. This one literally went down to the wire each game, besides 1 game. Well, 2 games when the Pacers blew them out. But Game 7, it was the LeBron show. Well, the whole series was the LeBron show. But the Pacers are going to look at themselves and they kicked themselves in the foot. They could have won this series. But they did some stuff that just, they're going to look back and be like, oh, we really screwed up on that.
Yeah. I'll be honest. That series, I told you earlier in the other room, it felt like a second-round series, or even I want to say the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. Just because the intensity, they were a better matchup compared to who the Cavs are playing now.
Later.
And it's just one of those things, like, LeBron had to show up because his cast plays. He was looking like Michael from the Jackson 5, because Tito and the rest wasn't doing anything in the first round. And
their role players are like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You just, and the epitome of that is J.R. Smith, the most talented non-superstar, I would say, ever in league history. And he frustrates you because the guy is so talented, but it's just like, what are you doing most of the times? And also coaching too. Ty Lue, sometimes he doesn't use Kevin Love the right way.
This is true. And Kevin Love needs to toughen up a little bit. Every time he gets touched, he's always on the floor. Like, come on, man, you're 6'10". I get it. They're strong and they're tough too, but you have to fight through stuff in the playoffs. You can't have the same injuries you have in regular season and let them affect you in the playoffs. Fight through it.
Definitely. And also I think it was Game 2 when Victor Oladipo missed that shot to tie the game up. It was like 95-92, and they left them wide open. That's a moment. Another moment was the goaltending that wasn't called goaltending. and then LeBron came and hit the game-winning shot. That was a few moments, and then they just had the Cavs gave the Pacers so many chances to win the series, and they just didn't take advantage of it.
Now, question. I don't know if you even know this rule or not. I remember Van Gundy saying something about when the ball's under the rim on the backboard, you can still hit it. I wasn't sure if he was joking or if he was serious. I wasn't sure. I'm just saying I heard that after that block.
A lot of times when Jeff Van Gundy says stuff, I don't take him seriously because just some of the stuff he says throughout the game is just, which has nothing to do with the game. And so some of the stuff he says, I just can't take seriously because it's him.
I totally understand that.
But I always thought if the ball hits the backboard, it's automatically goaltending, and that was that. But the Cavs, LeBron, playoff time, he's turning into a different animal. He's had a few strings of 40-point games, so that series, congrats to the Pacers for putting up a good fight, but they just need I think they need a couple more players, or one or two more players that could in the starting lineup that could elevate that whole team, because they do have a solid roster, and Victor Oladipo getting away from Russell Westbrook was kind of a blessing because.
Yeah, I mean, remember we talked about when he was getting drafted, when we seen his pre-draft workout, he should have been #1 pick just based off his athleticism and skill alone. So he's kind of seen why he was a top pick.
Yeah, now because last year he was just on the wing a lot, waiting for the ball to get to him, and in Orlando they didn't know what they were doing with him. So Nate McMillan, he kind of he helped them out. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, and probably the most disappointing. They're the most disappointing team in this entire NBA season, because I never bought into them actually going to the finals, because they were too. The beginning of the season, it's a new team, they'll figure it out, so give them some time. But then it just got to the point after the All-Star break, they were still, they played well against the great teams, and then they played down to their competition, and it just kept going. And the series against the Jazz, it was just epitomized their season. They win game 1 big, and then they lose game 2, then they go down 3-1, and they just didn't match up with the Jazz.
They just never gelled all year. Granted, you have 3 superstars, 3 potential Hall of Famers. You got at least definitely 2 Hall of Famers. I don't know what Paul George might end up being.
Yeah.
But, they just never gelled, and you could tell Russell Westbrook's type of player, he's sometimes difficult to play with because he controls the ball so much. He gives you the ball maybe at spots where you're not comfortable at times because it's kind of last resort, but you have to condition yourself to make those shots and be prepared to shoot with the limited amount of touches you get.
Yeah, and also, I don't understand why the coaching, Bill Donovan, I knew he wasn't a fit for the NBA. He's a great college coach, but not NBA. And he just never changed his offense around. It's just Russell Westbrook dribbled the ball for 18 seconds of the shot clock. You got 6 seconds left, and he jacks up a terrible shot. Carmelo, they don't know what they were doing with Carmelo. It's just figuring it out. Some games he's standing on the corner or on the wing. It's just, Carmelo's a guy, he likes to be in the low post or something. They could have got him the ball on the wing and have him move the ball in the wing, but they just never adjusted, and Game 7 showed that, because I think Melo was on the bench for the majority of that game, and then they just had a hard time stopping Donovan Mitchell and Joel Ingles.
How come they didn't play Ferguson that much? That man is an athletic freak. He's young, he's hungry, and he brings a different vibe, a different feel to the game. He's explosive, he's fast, he's quick, and the way I thought that Billy Donovan should have did the team, Westbrook should have just been the man, obviously, but the scorer should have been Paul George, and Melo should have been the one who gets 15 a game.
Because that recipe worked, because the games, when they played the Warriors a few times, Paul George was the leading scorer. He was getting 30 points, and Westbrook was kind of second, and then Melo was there. You drive, you dish to Melo. They just never played like that, and this also speaks to a bigger issue, is Westbrook's antics after the game. Getting into it with a fan, then goes to the media, talks about fans being disrespectful. You've been in the league for 10 years. You should know fans are disrespectful. They're always like that. As long as they're not throwing anything at you, like in Detroit, you just got to ignore them. And for him to just, especially after you choked away the game, you had 6 opportunities to tie the game up and you didn't. And it was kind of funny, because he's the same guy that always has an attitude when he's talking to the media. No matter what, good game or bad game, the media's just, they won't even they're not even overly criticizing him. They'll ask him a simple question, and he has an attitude about it. And then he goes to them and talk about fans should act a certain way. Come on
Yeah,
now.
he is a little intense when it comes to his attitude sometimes. But you know me, I'm kind of similar to Westbrook with attitude. After losing the game, my thing is, we live in a world nowadays where people think it's all right to just invade your personal space and say what they want to you without any repercussions because they never had anything happen to them.
Yeah.
When you lean over something and got a camera in somebody's face, now it's like you walked in the vicinity. If I wave my hands, I could touch you, so that's a problem. You need to get out of my space. So I totally get what he was saying, but at the end of the day, you're a multi-million-dollar man. You know why you're getting paid these $1 million. Just walk by them and ignore him.
Yeah, I mean, if
Because you know that guy's life probably sucks.
and also, now if this was another player, because if that was LeBron James and he did that, it would have been a whole. We would have spent, media outlets would have spent a whole week just just bashing LeBron James on fan interaction. So I mean, Thunder, they need Westbrook. He needs to change his attitude, and he also needs to change his game. And that whole team, I don't know, that organization, they just see as a bad decision.
But I will say though, as athletes, always have to hold themselves to a high standards. Athletes, celebrities in general, have to hold themselves to high standards. People in society should be held to the same standards as well. If you're a fan,
yeah, definitely.
be held to fan standards.
Yeah, definitely. Be respectful to people. Just be respectful.
Respect people's space.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like, come on.
And lastly, with the first round, we won't talk much about this. This was the Wizards and the Raptors. Raptors made light work of the Wizards. The Wizards, I only brought this, I only added this to run that just because I want to talk about the Wizards and how they have to blow that team up. I think they have to blow that team up. John Wall or Bradley Beal got to go. One of those two players got to go because it seems like there's something there between those two. I mean, it looks, they try to make nothing of it whenever they're asked, but there's something there, and it's just not working. And it's been 5 or 6 years of the same thing. First round, second round, first round, second round, and they haven't done that. I think that team, they have to blow that team up. One of those got to go. And for me, I think it'd probably be John Wall just because he was the #1 pick and they gave him so much money. But
he hasn't improved as much as he should.
Yeah.
He has all the athletic skills, ability. I'm a pull-up jump shooter. He should be able to make pull-up jump shots in his sleep.
Yeah.
You know when he's going to the basket, he just goes 100 miles an hour, and just, like in the playoffs, he's going 100 miles and throwing the ball up.
Yeah.
Get some contact, control yourself, make the layup, or pull up. Keep the defense on the edge. Keep them on their toes so they don't know what you're doing. You were predictable. I can see what you were doing, and I was watching the game from.
Yeah, that team is just not working. It's really not working. And you see when he was hurt. Also, another thing, he's always hurt. He's always hurt. When has he ever played a full season?
What I was going to ask you was, remember when Gortat was saying, like, it's our new team, when he was injured, they were playing well. Do you think they would have beat the Raptors without Wall?
Maybe.
We don't know.
I don't know, but the way that team is, that one of those guys got to go. It's just not working.
And I feel Bill should stay because you could put him in any system. He's a shooter.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the ball that much to be productive. Wall's a point guard, needs the ball.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah, that's our first round recap. But now let's get back to current NBA playoffs. The Sixers and Celtics, Celtics went 2-0, won last night, was down 20, they were down 22, came back. And the Sixers, that's another team. They need to be kicking themselves in the foot. I never seen a more pathetic performance than what we saw from Ben Simmons, the alleged Rookie of the Year. That was just pathetic. 1 point? You're 6'10", 1 point? And then the Celtics have 3 guys who are guarding him. They're probably like from 6'2" to like 6'6". So you have a size advantage everywhere. You can't get 3 layups?
You know what I'm going to say? We was talking to Pedro, and, he was saying, he's young. The nerves, inexperience. But my thing is, you play enough basketball, you're a top pick. You were 6'10", 6'11". You don't really have a jump shot. You don't really shoot the 3 ball. All you do is shoot layups, jumpers, and dunks. There's no way you can't make a layup.
And the whole, he's young, mature thing, that's a good and all, but they're in the second round. they made it to the second round, and Miami didn't have guys that could guard him, and he was getting to the basket the whole series. And I don't understand why. I mean, it must be a soft Australian thing.
Also, remember, you are coming into the Boston Garden.
Yeah.
History that we don't fully understand because we're from this area.
Yeah.
People from the outside coming in like, oh my God, Bird played here. We don't care. Like we don't understand it.
And the Celtics, they've been physical with them.
That as well. And I was saying, like, when you have Ben Simmons, who's a tall point guard, who doesn't really shoot the ball. Usually you lay off a player doesn't shoot, but you give him space, he sees everything, so you have to crowd him, make it difficult. So now he doesn't really know what to do.
Yep. So kudos to the Celtics. Now I just hope they bring this same intensity to the road because they need to get some road wins in these playoffs because, but the team we're about to talk about next, they look like they're about to have a nice rest because. And the Celtics, I want them to get this series over with as quick as possible just so they can rest because they got some injury issues. But, Terry Rozier, he's just he's taking it to another level, and I didn't know he had that in him.
Now that he's doing it, there's no longer, he's a bench player. He's coming. No, they expect it now.
Yeah.
Like somebody was saying he doesn't show up in away games. Yeah. Some people give him the excuse he comes to the bench, he's not experienced, doesn't matter. You score 20 plus multiple times in the playoffs, home or away, they expect it now because you're in there to play.
Yeah.
So produce now. So you got to produce both home and away.
And I think this round, it might be a little easier for him just because he went through that first round and he knows what he has to do. So they're up 2-0. Hopefully they could, make quick work of the Sixers. It's going to be tough in Philly because they still have the best center in the league, so it's going to be tough. Another sorry team that we have to talk about who I said on After the Whistle, probably like our first few episodes that you can't trust this team and, they would wet their pants in the playoffs when they see a certain player. And the Raptors, here we are.
Man. You know what I was telling you in the other room? It starts with the leader who is your point guard. If your point guard's not a dog, you're going to be a bunch of pups. He looks terrified out there. Maybe he's trying to figure out how to attack LeBron. You just attack him. Simple as that. There's no real formula to attack LeBron. You're a quick guy. Use your speed and quickness and try to get some space, make some shots.
This is the third year they've played him in the playoffs, so you need to figure out how to attack. You've been playing the same guy 3 years, and he's just been. It's like they see Debo when LeBron comes to town. It's like they start tucking their chains in and hiding. And what's worse. What did it for me was Game 1. Game 1 summarized everything. They were up big. They had so many chances to just close the game out, a lot of room. And, the game was like, it was still close, and I'm just like, they're gonna blow this. They're going to blow this. And lo and behold, they blew it. The Cavs came back. And then you have a guy named Fred Van Vliet taking the last shots in regulation and in overtime.
Yeah,
where are your all-stars? Where's DeRozan? Where, we already talked about Larry. So,
and the problem with DeRozan, I love DeRozan's game. Thing with him is he's not gonna make enough twos to beat you. Mm-hmm. So you have to have Kyle Lowry making threes. Serge Ibaka, I don't know what he does anymore.
He had one good game.
Make threes or make some layups or rebound. Do something out there. Like DeRozan can't be the only player that comes to play every game in Valanciunas as well. Valanciunas is tough. Oh yeah, and I'm OG, but he's a rookie or second-year player or something. But he's inexperienced, so he's doing what he can. But the deeper you get, the higher it is for these young players to really be as productive as they want to be because they don't have the experience.
And you talked about Kevin Love. He needs to man up and stop being so soft. Yesterday, what happened? Mouse in the house. He had CJ Miles on him. He went straight to the post. They kept giving him the ball, and he scored every time. He either scored or assisted. And what I didn't understand is when do you realize that a guard can't guard anybody if he keeps scoring? When do you realize that, maybe we should change our strategy, or maybe we should switch or something?
Usually you want your teammates to be like, all right, just switch. At some point, somebody has to just step up and be like, all right, you're getting killed, I'm going to try to help you. Or I'm going to try to just stop him from doing it.
Yeah.
But to touch on the JR situation, I think he's so conditioned in being a shooter that he forgets he has all the skills known to man to be productive against anybody who covers him. He don't even dribble the ball anymore. He doesn't even attack the rim barely. I just don't get it.
That's also coaching. But so this is going to be a quick sweep there. That series is over. Another intriguing series. Well, people thought it was going to be intriguing. The Warriors and Pelicans. People thought the Pelicans were going to beat the Warriors. I said the most they'll probably go is 5 games. The Warriors are just a way better team. They have, the 2-time MVP comes back from injury and drops 28 points and hasn't missed a beat. And they just the Pelicans just don't have enough firepower to keep up with them because it was close the last game, but then the flurry of threes started.
The only full Warriors game I've watched this playoffs is Game 4 against the Spurs because I knew they weren't going to get swept. That's because I know Pop gave them more hot than that as a team. But New Orleans, they just don't have enough. Unfortunately, the Warriors got 2 Hall of Famers. You got Klay Thompson's probably gonna be one of the greatest shooters ever.
Yeah, you got two guys on the team that are in the top 10 for the most 3-pointers made, and I think both of them are in the top 4. It's between them two. They're in the top 4.
And then you had Draymond Green, who was just doing whatever you wanted that game. Like he was killing. Like so, it's just
the first game.
It's they're just a deep team. They're just too deep.
Yeah, too deep. I mean, the Pelicans are talented. I mean, they put up a good fight. They made light work of the Blazers, which disappointed me. But it's just they're just running into a team that you just can't keep up with them. If you're not hitting no threes, you could be up 25 on them, and that's still not a safe lead because they're just like that. They could come back.
And the Warriors have 5 players that can score at all times on the court.
Yeah.
The Pelicans don't. Rondo's not going to always put the ball in the hole for you.
He's not even looking to score.
They don't really cover him as much as they should if he was a threat, always a threat.
So, I think that series, the most they'll go is 5 games now. Jazz and Rockets. Rockets won game 1. James Harden had 41 points. Then game 2, it turned into the Donovan Mitchell show once again. But he didn't have a lot of scoring, but now he has to play point guard because of Ricky Rubio, but he got everybody involved. Rudy Gobert and Joel Ingles, once again, this guy, he's just been a problem on the wing for a lot of people to cover. And the Rockets, when those threes aren't going in, they just look like an average team. And also they can't, they don't switch it up. When the threes aren't going in, they don't give it to the guy in the post, so they don't run pick and rolls. It's just James Harden dribble. I'm gonna shoot a 3. Chris Paul dribble. I might do a pull up, or I might shoot a 3. So, this is kind of almost looking like the Jazz, the Thunder series once again, because after the first game they got blown out. People saying, "Oh, this is gonna be quick," but then and it's tough to play in Utah.
Yeah, when I was watching that game, they just didn't look like they were really ready to play that game. They were missing a lot of shots. I watched PJ Tucker miss 3 threes in a row. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's just they just didn't really have it that night. When Harden went out, that's when the league built up. He came in, quick little 7-0 run or something like that. Yeah. So it's then I don't think they took that game as serious as they should have.
And it's the playoffs. Which is even more sad. Why are you not, but I think it might go the same way as if these guys, they don't take this team seriously, it might go the same way as the Thunder series because the Jazz, they, at home, they play really well. And Ricky Rubio's not even back. And, who would have thought Ricky Rubio would be such a big, a big part of a team right now. Mm-hmm. So it's him being out, Donovan Mitchell scoring is, going down, but his assists is.
But then it makes you wonder what happens if Ricky Rubio comes back. Is he going to be the defensive liability? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because he can't cover Chris Paul, can't cover James Harden, really can't cover nobody.
Yeah.
So, is his offense going to, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Negate his defense?
Maybe. But, with the Jazz, the thing about them is, they have a center. They have a guy down there that, that kind of makes up for a lot of players' lack of defense. So if you get to the cup, the chances of you scoring is not that high.
This is true.
And another player I wanted just to highlight quickly was Jay Crowder. This guy looks like an entirely different player. He looks like the Jay Crowder that, had good stretches with the Celtics. And he's, this series, he's been hitting shots.
I always liked Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
So I just didn't like he's so big and shoots mad threes because, he can get to the cup a little bit. But I always liked Jay Crowder. It's unfortunate what happened to him this year.
Yeah.
Getting traded, losing his mom. But he's definitely, I want to say, living her legacy the best to the fullest because he's playing well. He's a positive person, you know what I mean? And I'm just happy to see him doing well.
Yeah. That's our NBA talk right now. We're going to get into some hockey. The Bruins, Lord, they've dropped 2 straight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They, the first game they won, it was, you oh, okay, this might go a little different. And now they just been, 4-2, 4-1. They've been giving up a lot of goals. Tuukka Rask, the guy gets criticized crazy, but he can only do so much, especially when the team's getting so many shots at you.
You can only stop so many goals.
Yeah, so now the Bruins, they need to win tonight, or else this series might be over. And the Tampa Bay is showing why they're such a quick strike offense. They just, they've been attacking, and the Bruins they've been looking slow.
I mean, they call it the Lightning. So, but even when I was in prep school, they've been known for just being offensive. I think St. Pierre might have played for them years ago when I was in prep school.
I think so.
Yeah, so like they've always been known for scoring. I haven't really been keeping up with this series too much. I told you I was watching the Nashville game last night, and I'm still rooting for Ovechkin. So I'm just, and I always root for my Bruins, but I was just happy they made out the first round. The game 7 they won. Everybody was so happy out here.
Yeah, and the Bruins, these are the two. Honestly, these are two best teams in the Eastern Conference right now. So I think the winner of this series will be going to the Stanley Cup. But the Bruins, they just need to, their goal. They need to attack. Some of their players need to step up. I mean, the leaders just need to step up. Marchand, Bergeron, they just need to get it together and at least win one. Just win tonight, and then make this even serious, because the likelihood of coming back from 3-1 against a team like Tampa Bay is really slim to none.
Definitely.
Also in the Western Conference, Vegas, they're up. Who they up on? Vegas is up in their series I believe 2-1 or 3-1, and they're supposed to be the favorite to win it all. And in their expansive franchise, they've just been playing solid hockey this whole season. So I think Vegas, I think they got a game tonight. But
I was gonna say I haven't really watched too much of them either. But the thing I've been hearing about when I was watching ESPN and just watching the news,
is tied too, actually.
Watching the news is there's Vegas is, I want to say, a happier place with this hockey world, in the hockey world, because of this expansion team bringing so much joy to Vegas. And I didn't even know anything about the team until I heard about them. So.
And they got the Raiders coming soon, so it's going to be great. But the NHL playoffs also, you talked about it, your Capitals and Penguins.
Man, don't get me started with them.
Can the Capitals finally get over the hump and beat the Penguins? It's just, I don't know how many years it's been, but they just always lose to the Penguins.
It's been like 4, I think. Like, I only root for the Bruins and Ovechkin. Yeah. So like, man, he can't get crap past Crosby. And I've been hearing about Crosby since I was in prep school, because when I was a PG at Canterbury, he was, I think, a junior or senior at his high school in Minnesota. Okay. And they had like a slam that was like for hockey. And my hockey players put me on to him. So I've been hearing about this man forever. He's supposed to be the next Wayne Gretzky, and he's kind of shown that he is the next one. But I need Ovechkin to get one. We were saying, if you're great as a hockey player, you have at least one Stanley Cup. Yeah. I don't think there's any greats that don't have a Stanley Cup.
And he hasn't even got to our conference finals yet. So it's, I know the fans down there in DC, and I think they just have it in their mindset that they're going to lose the series just because they've just seen seen this movie over and over again.
It's called Happy Feet. So they playing the Penguins, getting stomped on. So.
Yeah, I mean. Well, maybe it'll be a different story. So,
I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, that's our hockey take. We're not. Brian usually talks about all the hockey. I just asked the question, so we did the best we could. We're gonna take a break now. We're gonna come back and talk NFL, the craziness happening over there. So quick break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
I was 18 years old. I had it made. Until I went to a college party and I thought I was immune to temptation. That's when reality struck. Quite literally. If you choose to slowly end your liver, don't let it be your life that ends early. Be responsible.
You've always protected me. Every day of my life.
There you go.
Thanks, Dad.
I'm older now, but I still need you. Prescription pain pills, heroin. I know kids are getting addicted, and people are dying. Can you still protect me?
You can protect your teen. Teens who talk to their parents about opioids are less likely to misuse them. Find out what you can say.
All right, we are back. I'm here, my guest co-host Todd Burton Jr. I gotta make sure I said the junior.
Oh, yeah.
We try to get senior here, but I don't think he talks that much.
Not at all, not at all.
All right, we're going now to NFL. The NFL just, this is a time of the year when NFL players are either getting in trouble for domestic violence, drug abuse, or doing something dumb. But we're going to leave that out right now. Eric Reed, the free agent safety, he just filed a collusion case against the NFL because he's still unsigned for whatever reason because of him kneeling. And he filed a collusion case, which is understandable because there's no way this guy shouldn't be signed to an NFL roster right now. He's young, he's 26, he had a solid season last year. Besides whatever was going on with that entire team, they were just not a good team. But the guy can play, and you can't use nothing against him saying like he's controversial or he's old or he's washed. No, he's 26. The guy was an All-Pro, so there's no reason why he's not signed. Why he should not sign right now. The only reason is he was kneeling. He was very outspoken about Colin Kaepernick and what they were doing last season with the whole. The alleged anthem protest, and now this is the result of it, him not being signed.
I mean, I say certain things are systematic. So, we live in a world where they make sure you can't do certain things based on where you're from, what you look like, and him kneeling isn't a problem whatsoever. He's not putting his hands on people. He's not slapping phones out of people's hands. He's not beating his wife. He's not getting recorded in the elevator doing nothing crazy. Yeah. All the dude is kneeling for justice of other people. What is the problem? God forbid if he was kneeling tying his shoes on an anthem would be a problem. So it's like, get over the fact that he's disagreeing with something that you guys agree with, but he doesn't like. I didn't like how they made him kneeling a problem, him kneeling saying he's disrespecting the military. That has nothing to do with the military, it's a flag. Because I could have swore the lady who made the flag was forced to make it. So she didn't want to make the flag, so what is the big uproar about all this anyways?
Even folks who are in the military who they support the players who were kneeling because that's their constitutional right. They have the right to kneel, just like those have the right to not kneel. You're not being disrespectful if you're kneeling. I never understood how somebody who could just be quiet, just over there, he's quiet. He's just, not saying nothing on his knees as the whole anthem's playing is problematic. But a guy who, just got drafted, he was running from the police, and there's video of him getting chased by the police at a certain university, getting tackled. And there's videos of other players, drinking, doing nonsense, alleged, white powder substance around them. But those players could quickly get signed, or players that haven't even played in the league, that haven't played in like years, could quickly get signed. But the guys that are, just minding their business and kneeling seem to be problematic. And it's always the same thing. It's like, it's going to be a distraction to the team, or it's going to be a media circus, and which is all done because the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl, and they were they were very outspoken about, people's rights. They were about kneeling, and they were pretty much the team woke, as they say, and, there was no controversy. There was no media outrage.
Also, I think them kneeling was such a shock to citizens because they rather see a black man doing something crazy, being obnoxious. When he's kneeling, he doesn't give you a reason to be like, or an excuse to be like, now we can't hire him, now he doesn't deserve a job because look what he's doing, he's these antics. So it's kind of like they're kind of also put in a difficult spot because it's like, just respect the man for their opinion, but also understand society where they don't respect people based on their opinions and how they look and where you're from. So it's one of those things where we have to be better as people.
And also, it'd be different if they were kneeling and weren't doing nothing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
They're kneeling, and also they're doing stuff off the football field. They're helping inner city kids. They're helping people, that probably nobody would care for them if these guys weren't out there, putting up their own money and raising money too, just to help these inner city kids out. Because the main thing people would like to say is like, oh, instead of kneeling, why don't he just help his community? he's helping his community, and still that still seems a problem. And it's just like we live in an age where people are just not satisfied. They just always want something to be upset about or make up something that they want to be upset about. It is ridiculous. And it's also ridiculous why this man isn't signed to a football team, because there's so many players on an NFL roster right now who shouldn't be on an NFL roster, and who got, some got felonies, some been arrested, and you can't say that about this guy.
I mean, not at all. Because you know what I always say? There are certain races that are allowed to act any old type of way, and we were forced to act accordingly. So in society, that's how it is. But I want to say social media and the news is kind of showing everybody that, I want to say, not showing everybody that, but I want to say opening an eye to everybody that this is how the world really is, and we got to change it.
Yeah.
Because there shouldn't be a large group of people forced to act a certain way, and then one large group just do whatever they want and they get all the jobs and opportunities. That's unacceptable. Everybody should be forced to act a certain way, be held to the same standards.
Yeah. So with this collusion case, I hope it works out for his favor, because he does have a case, because there's no reason why he's not signed to NFL roster right now. In other NFL news, I was going to talk about Big Ben, but I remember how much you don't like that guy. So I scratched that off. We'll talk about Matt Ryan. He just got an extension, 5-year, $150 million, $30 million guaranteed $30 million per year. And this is just the NFL. If you're a quarterback, you always strike and go, because they're always going to overpay for a quarterback. I don't think they overpaid. I think they, for what he's done for them, got them to a Super Bowl. They almost won another playoff game last year. But,
I mean, you're going to need a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
you're going to need a quarterback. And he's the best quarterback they have.
Yeah.
You got him to the Super Bowl. He might not ever win a Super Bowl, but how many quarterbacks win Super Bowls?
And it's Atlanta. How many,
So, but in general, how many quarterbacks really got Super Bowls? You got Roethlisberger, Breeze, Mannings,
Brady's
Brady.
been in 8.
So, you know what I mean?
Brady's been in 8.
It's only a select few, but it's only a select few, but it's not a problem to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
For an organization. You just don't get the ring because somebody else is taking them.
Yeah, if they did some stuff during that Super Bowl, they could have won. But
with the touch on Roethlisberger, I got a daughter, so that's why I don't really rock with him.
Yeah,
So that's right there.
But yeah, so I think. But also to speak on the $30 million, now these guys, the guaranteed is a little more crazy. They're signing these short deals so they could get more guaranteed money. This is like the guy Kirk Cousins effect, since he got like $30 million guaranteed and it's all up front. So I can't knock anybody for getting this type of money. I can't.
I mean, for one, it's football.
Yeah.
So it's not baseball. It's not basketball, it's not soccer, it's not golf. Your longevity isn't, your lifespan in that sport isn't that long. So you need to get as much money as you can before they say, I'm not going to pay you this.
Yeah, I wish they would do the same with some other position receivers, just give them the money they deserve, because the quarterbacks, there's no problem getting the quarterbacks, but when you see receivers, we see they're worth a lot of money, and they actually make the quarterback better than he is. Prime example, they have a receiver that,
you got to start with the face. Start with the face and then slowly work your way down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we know the wide receivers should really get off rip because they make the quarterback the quarterback.
Yeah, and last NFL news, the NFL can't go without controversy. Another controversy, the team from down there in Washington, D.C., there was an article out in I believe the New York Times, something about, it was the New York Times, I believe, or the Denver Post, about their cheerleading program and how they went down to, let me see if I can find that article. It was the Washington Post. They went down, it was the New York Times. I'm all over the place.
It's all right.
They went down to Costa Rica for a photo shoot or something, and it kind of, from what I was reading in the article, the way some of the cheerleaders described it, kind of turned into like an escort service kind of deal. I mean, they were forced to go out to the clubs with men that, weren't part of or were sponsored of an organization as like their host or whatever. And yeah, it was like,
who ran that?
I don't know. And it was just a big controversy. And some of the females in the article said they didn't want to go, but they told it was mandatory for them to go. So
when's the lawsuit gonna happen?
It's gonna happen soon.
Because you get paid to be a cheerleader. I could have swore you get paid to do certain events, but I don't think you get like paid to go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, they said they went down there for a photo shoot and stuff.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah, probably for a calendar.
Yeah,
quote
but
unquote.
yeah. So, and they said the cheerleaders didn't know. They said so the resort they were at was kind of secluded, so they thought it was just gonna be them. But then they saw other guys and it was mainly men, other people, and it was mainly men. So it was just weird. And
you got research. You got research. Do more research.
Yeah.
And we got now that Google got Google Maps. You can look at the result on its own. You can find out everything you need to find out about something. So we have more than enough access and resources to find out anything we need to know. So there's no reason why we shouldn't know stuff.
Yeah, and
like, come on.
But this isn't a good look. The
Not
way
at all.
especially for the team down there. Yeah, your organization already got a name that's a racial slur too.
Now, what I was gonna ask you, like, my mom got Native American blood. Why are they the Redskins? The only reason why I can accept the Redskins is if they're talking about a white person with a tan, or a sunburn, I should say. But they're not. So when is this ever gonna be?
I have no idea. That team, there's just they just have a long list of issues. And this article here, if you read it, you'll just be like, a lot of people got to answer to stuff, especially the cheerleader director, the owner as well, putting those women out there and something that could endanger them, because you can't just send them down there to a secluded area. What could happen to them. And one of the cheerleaders said, honestly, it won't be a story until one of them gets raped or killed. That's
because they don't look at cheerleaders nowhere near the way they look at professional athletes.
Yeah.
The actual players.
Yeah.
Why? Because cheerleaders come and go. Come and go. Because I went to school with a Patriots cheerleader. I don't even know how long she even lasted on the squad. I don't think she's on anymore. But the thing is, there's so many cheerleaders trying to get opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we still live in a world where men and women are looked at differently still.
Yep.
Regardless of what they say, regardless of how much they pay, and regardless of any of that, they still looked at it a certain way.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate
and
still.
The respect aspect that people have for women is
I see it every day in school.
It's terrible
with kids.
It's really terrible. And that story is just another epitomizes society and how people view women. But on that note, we're gonna go to Athletes Corner. I had Lynn United, professional soccer team here in Lynn, talk to them about their season, some things they got going on. It was a nice little sit down we had, so check that out, and then we'll be back. We'll wrap up the show and talk about the Red Sox. I don't think they're fighting anymore. Welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. We got a professional club here today. I think this is our first professional club that we have as guests. We have Lynn United here. I have Eric. I'm gonna call Eric Jr., Eric Sr., and Chris. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Great.
Good.
How y'all feeling today? This nice day outside.
Feeling good. Beautiful day.
Yeah. So you guys are underway. You guys season's almost is coming down to a wrap. So tell me a little bit about the season so far for you guys.
So far, we've had ups and downs. This past weekend, we had a doubleheader, so we were able to win on Saturday, but, on Sunday, soccer's a really fatiguing game. We lost 1-0, unfortunately. So right now, we sit in third place. We're off this weekend. We got a nice bye week. We're collecting ourselves together, and we're back at home at Manning the following Saturday at 3 o'clock.
And this is kind of like the playoff push for you guys?
No, actually, we just started. We have 8 games left.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I don't know why I thought you guys had I'm thinking something else.
Yes.
So 8 games left. Tell me a little about, after you guys, just tell me a little bit about, this season, as far as how's it going to be different from last season?
So this season's going to be a lot different than last because, we're in the UPSL now. It's a lot higher of a league. There's more teams. It's a national league. And, the competition's a lot higher than what we're used to, which is awesome because, we're getting better players, better games. It's very competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he said, this is a very organized league. And the competition is a high level competition.
Yeah.
So this year we will do much better than the previous years. We do have a lot of great players in our team.
Yeah.
We got players that we have been developed through the years, that they playing in a higher level now, and they better to compete with the league this year.
Yeah.
And I think what also helped make it so competitive is that a lot of these teams have been together for a long period of time, so they've been playing with each other a lot. You know, they were coming off a few years, and you know, these guys, some of them are just seeing each other for the first time, but they're gelling really well together so far.
Yeah.
They had a really great first
As
intro to the
manager,
season.
what are some things that you do to make sure your team stays on point?
So I'm more in charge of like the game day type of stuff. I make sure like I help with the ticketing. I help write out the itinerary for both teams. I reach out to the UPSL manager that we have to coordinate with for all home game stuff. I put out an itinerary for the MC so that he knows what to say, when to say. Yeah. Just stuff like that, making sure everything runs smoothly during game day so that the coaches just have to worry about the players, and then I take care of the other team and what goes on.
Now, Pops, you're the founder of this. You built this. What got you? What was it that made you decide that you wanted to start a soccer club in Lynn?
Yeah, so you know, all my life I live in Lynn, and I did coach youth, girls and boys for Lynn for many years. I played soccer. I started playing soccer when I was 5 years old. I played soccer in a amateur level and a semi-professional level, and then I continue, and then my kids kind of follow my footsteps. I have my son playing for Salem State College. I have my daughter playing for Worcester State University. And so, you know, at that time I was like, you know, it's time. My dream, I would like to put a team together in the city of Lynn to give the kids from high schools and all around opportunity to play in a semi-professional level, so they can have the ability to be seen by scouts, perhaps college or pro, that they can have the opportunity to maybe get a 4-year scholarship or be looked for to get a tryout for the pro.
Now, how many years have you guys been, you know, an organization?
So, I mean, our organization, this is the 3rd year.
3rd year.
But I've been with other organizations as a head coach and other things for a couple years back.
All right. I understand that you just recently accepted a job as the soccer coach for Lynn Classical High.
Yes.
Now, talk a little about that.
So, you know, I'm excited to bring a lot of exposure over there to the Classical High School. There's a lot of great players over there. I think it's just about getting an eye on these guys and getting them organized, you know, getting them to the level that organization that they should be. You know, we're going to come in and give them semi-pro level coaching and some tactics they probably haven't seen before, but they're going to be a very organized team, and I hope to like give them all the best opportunity they can to be seen by colleges and, you know, make something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's you know, especially since you got the experience, you played in college as well, so
exactly.
So they could get something out, they could learn something. Now, which teams are going to be the toughest competition for you all this season?
So, probably one of the top dogs in our league is Safira FC. You know, they've won state titles, and they're always our toughest opponent when we do play them. And probably Mass United. Those two guys, you know, those are the guys we watch out for, and we really take extra time to prep for when we know we have them on the schedule.
What makes them so tough?
Safira is very technical. They have a lot of great players. They're mostly Brazilian players and South American players, but you know, they've been together for a while as well. They're probably one of the most technical teams. Mass United is a very organized team with, you know, a lot of physical players, so they have the organization and the physicality, so that's always tough when you're playing them as well.
And at this level, a lot of teams have like that individual talent, but that's not what's going to get you the wins in this league. You need to have that chemistry. People need to be communicating with each other. You have to play as a team.
Yeah. And which player on your team would you guys say, you know, is a key player for you guys that makes your team go?
Well, we have different players that do different things in the team. But I think this year, for me, I think we have this new player. His name is Rama. He brings a lot to the team because he's very disciplined. He likes to get involved with the team. A lot of times in practice, we don't have to tell him. He just say, "Hey, I would like to do this drill," and he talks to the team, and everybody listens to him and everything.
Yeah.
So I think right this year he's one of our leaders in the team that will help us a lot with players following his lead.
And lastly, goes by so fast, running out of time. But for those that that want to know more about Lynn United and know about the schedule, where can it go? Where can they contact you guys, reach you guys?
So they can see us at Lynn United FC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also we have a website, lynnunitedfc.com.
And the next coming up, the schedule's gonna be on there as well.
Yeah, the schedule's there. We announce, all the time when the next games are. We post very frequently. We have a lot of followers. We're one of the most followed team in the league. We've got about 8,000 and growing, so we're doing pretty well. We're very active on social media.
And lastly, before we leave, is there something you guys would like to say to the Lynn community about Lynn United?
Yeah, we would like to say that we here as a semi-professional team to give the opportunity to kids to play at the higher level, and to give the opportunity to kids that want to perhaps be seen by pro scouts or recruited from college to be able to get into college and get a 4-year for college, or be able to see by the pro teams.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. It was appreciated. Very appreciate this very much. Good luck on the season. Good luck on the rest of the season.
Thank you for having us.
And come back anytime to talk about anything that you guys want to talk about regarding soccer. Oh, lastly, World Cup's coming up. Who you guys got winning it? Oh,
Colombia. We're Colombian, so we're going Colombia.
Got to root for the home team.
Is.
All right, root for the home team. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I'm going to go with Brazil.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. A safe bet.
No, honestly, Germany probably wins.
I will say Germany, maybe Argentina.
We'll see. World Cup's in next month, so we'll see. All right. Just want to thank Lynn United for coming here on Athletes Corner. Gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna go back on set.
I just wanted to have fun with my friends. In 2016, about 7.7 million Americans ages 12 to 20 have consumed alcohol. %32 of underage drinkers got alcohol from someone they did not know. You never know where you're going to end up.
And we back. We are back. It's the show goes by so quickly. I mean now. We got like 5 minutes left. We're gonna quickly talk about the Red Sox and the April that they had. They went 19-6. I think they had like 4 or 5 grand slams, which is kind of crazy, and put together a few winning streaks. Overall, right now they're ahead of the Yankees in the AL division by a game and a half or so. The Red Sox are 22-9. The Yankees are 21-10. So right now they've been putting together a good start to the season, especially that first month. They were just on fire with the home runs and everything. And Mookie Betts, he's just, he's elevating himself. I think he's trying to go for MVP this season.
It's gonna be him or what's his name for the Yankees. Jesus.
Stan.
There's something wrong with that man.
Let's hope they don't say he's juicing. I would be surprised. But yeah, this is a good start for the Red Sox. I mean, it's a long season, but no matter in any sport, it's always good to start great. Get these wins under your belt, just so during the end of the season you don't have to worry about winning certain games so you could get in, just, you know, beat teams that you're supposed to be beating. And it looks like they're doing that right now. They kind of, you know, this month they've already lost 2 games this month, but, you know, it's just the beginning. They lost last night to the Rangers, but overall, I think they're going to be solid for the, you know, remainder of the baseball season.
I mean, it's a good baseball year. I like seeing both the Red Sox and the Yankees being competitive and
fighting.
With great records. So when they do play each other, that's going to mean something.
Yeah.
And they're just 2 great teams this year. Like I said, the Red Sox came out with like a 7-8 game winning streak, and then the Yankees just been knocking the ball everywhere out the park. So it's definitely going to be a good game when them series start. Did they already play this? They played.
Oh, yeah, they played once already. They played
yeah.
once already, and there was some fisticuffs being thrown in that series. You know,
Rightfully so.
The pitcher knocked that. I don't think we have that video anymore, but that was probably the highlight of that series. And the Red Sox took that series 2 games to 1. So, and I heard I think next year or the year after, they're going to play in London.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
they're gonna have I think they're gonna play 2 or 3. They're gonna have a series in London.
Will that be the first time they played in London ever?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that'll be the first time. So
That's
I think
dope.
all these sports are expanding. You know, the NFL goes to Europe. Each year they have 2 or 3 games in Europe. The NBA does overseas games.
Yeah.
They Mexico. Well, that's not overseas, but they do games in London as well.
All right.
So I think Europe it must be a big market for a lot of sports.
Probably. I mean, you know, soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but you know, basketball is probably now number 2. You know what I mean? But more people just be introduced to more sports.
Yeah.
That's really it. You get more access to stuff now.
Yeah.
Social media and everything. Palm of your hand, you can see whatever sport you want, learn anything you want to learn nowadays, learn how to make anything you want to learn. It's like crazy.
And a lot of these guys, some of them, it might be their first time traveling outside the country.
That's
that's just a whole nother experience for them. So, I mean, the way the sports are doing this with these overseas things. Also, the NBA has the NBA World Games. And then they have in the summertime, they just go overseas and just do exhibition games and stuff. So, I mean, this is great. I like how everybody's expanding and just not letting everybody know it's just be stuck in America.
And as a professional athlete, it also gives you a different perspective when you go out the country to see how people are living, because it's like, you know, I'm spending all this money on these shoes and this, that, and the third, when in all reality, these people are living off less and surviving off less. So it just helps you understand that money really isn't as important as everybody makes it seem. It's important to maneuver around the world, but being yourself and being true to yourself is really what's really important, and supporting and being there for your family and just being a good person is what really.
Yeah, and a lot of times when people say they travel to some of these countries, you know, that people aren't that rich and stuff, they say, you know, they're all happy.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's because, you know, they don't have money, but they find a way, and they're just happy for what they have. So it's, you know, that opens a lot of people's eyes. So.
I mean, the Philippines, I told you the experience, they're just happy to see us. Villages, shacks, but it was their home, it was their space, and they were fine when we helped the kids do a couple camps and things like that. So, and you're from another country, so you understand. So
yeah, I think some people, when they just have little, they appreciate what they have. Except for some people, they have so much and they just want more, and they don't appreciate the little that they don't appreciate.
In our world, we live in a world where the U.S. worries about what's in somebody else's yard compared to their own.
And Pedro's wrapping us up. I want to thank my guest, Todd Burton Jr. for being here. Brian will be back next week. The thoughts that was said here are our thoughts. They don't reflect LCTV, they're ours. So, you know, enjoy it. Check us out, Facebook, Twitter, Lynn Community Television. Next week, we got movie night here. Bring your kids. We're watching Flash Gordon. And, you know, just go to the Lynn Community Television website and check out everything we're going on here. All right, we're out. Pedro, you're a diva.